Okay, quick update on the car. Although I'm going to be putting this on my other channel, so I'll direct you guys from my other channel to this channel. Yeah, lots going on here in development. Okay, this is what we have left to do. I've got to update all the grounds. The ground connections are very rusted and limiting some connection. We've got to pop all these lights out, one on each side. Those get replaced with really bright side lights. We're installing a light into the top of here and the bottom of here, pointing down and pointing up. The hood is getting a lift. It's going to be raised about that much. And there's going to be a light bar right underneath the front of the hood that turns on independently from the light bar that runs down the sides of the hood. We've got a little body work to do right here. Oh, let me get this thing propped up real quick. I've got the front tore apart, so the thing's gone. Okay, so the engine's good. It's only got 48,000 miles on it, but the problem is it sat for so long that the entire throttle body is filled with varnishy flakes. I pulled most of these components off and cleaned them already. And then we're going to put a cold air intake on here, not to increase performance, because it'll probably decrease performance, but just to get this sucker out of the way. And a whole nother battery is going right here, just like on the other side. It's going to be a deep cycle marine. An inverter is getting installed in here, and an air compressor is getting installed in here. So there's quite a bit to install under the hood yet, and quite a bit of wiring to do. We might keep the AC, but we might just get rid of it entirely. The system doesn't work right now, and I don't know if I want to really troubleshoot that and fix it. So we'll find out. We never drive in the summertime in the trails anyways. It's always during hunting season in the cold. So we'll just be using the heater primarily. As you guys can see, this thing doesn't have any rust on it anywhere. It might have a spot right here. Somebody scratched it or dinged it. And underneath it's got very minor rust. It's all pretty much still painted black. So we don't have to really do anything as far as that goes. We are gonna paint this camouflage and then sand it and clear coat it with some accents. We've got to remove these pins on the door. We're going to put removable pins in there so the doors can be removed. I've got the dash tore off there right now. It's just easier to access all the wiring and everything else. I got rid of a few mouse nests. Had to repair this cable. This cable had a short in it that fishes through here and under here. That's where the string goes. So I gotta fish it back through there. The steering wheel's not even on right now. It's actually off. Some of this stuff is going to get removed. This whole thing's going to slide back as far as it can, I think. We're not sure about that yet. This e-brake, we don't want to get rid of it, but we are going to build an armrest over it with some storage and some controls there. Everything on the heater core here works. All brake cable heater core stuff, so that's good. Nothing electric except for this one potentiometer, which we don't know works yet because we haven't tried it. This entire front panel here, come back here. This entire front lower side is going to be a solid metal panel with a shitload of control switches on there to control all of our different lights. The interior lights will be modded with two different lights, bright white and tactical red. Tactical red's for incognito mode. The whole car itself will have an incognito mode, which basically allows us to drive at nighttime, undetected if we ever have to. Just a tactical additive. The car will have another light bar up here. So that's one light bar and then one under the hood. Out the sides, out the side of the hood, our reverse lights are going to be vamped up. They're buried in there somewhere, but we're going to add extra reverse lights out here somewhere, probably on the bumper here, and to make it extra bright when we're reversing. And of course that'll be controlled through a switch. We don't want it being too bright for other drivers unless we're on the trails. The soft top, getting rid of the soft top. It's not too much money for a new soft top, but we're going to pay a little extra for a fiberglass hard top, which still has removable panels and still can all be convertible if we need it to. We only got about 4 minutes left. There's actually quite a few modifications that we're going to be doing here. We're installing a computer, not the electric control module, but we're installing our own Raspberry Pi computer that is going to run a few sensors on here. It's going to have an internal external game ear. It's going to have a deer finder, like a fish finder at the top. Just a little infrared camera that spins around. Every time it detects a heat signature around the vehicle, it'll blip it on a little radar. The entire center is going to be decked out with 2 phone mounts, so that way we can mount our phones and use those as instruments itself. And then it's going to have a big screen, LCD touch screen there for map navigation. And it may even have something over there on the dash, because that's a flat piece of the dash here. So there's actually quite a bit that we can do with this even, instrument panel wise. It's going to have tilt sensors in there, an omnidirectional compass that works at any level, and of course interior lights for the floors. And that just about wraps it up. We're going to give it a 1-inch lift, that's all. We're going to throw a little bit bigger tire on there, and the tire itself is going to come out a little bit farther and make the wheelbase slightly bigger, but not too much bigger. It's only going to come out just a little bit more, about to here. And we got to take the exhaust. We're going to boil the exhaust right out of the side here into a snorkel that comes up. That's how they're commonly done that I've seen. We could snorkel it right off the back, or even add a removable snorkel that we can add in on a whim. We might even do that at first. We might not even need it at first, actually, so probably not. Some bike mounts on here, and that's about it. That really wraps it up. We're actually replacing these mirrors with foldable mirrors. These mirrors are fixed, and we know we're going to rip them off in the trail. Everybody rips their mirrors off in the trails, right? So we're going to be ripping those off on purpose and just replacing it with foldable mirrors. You definitely need some foldable mirrors. Oh yeah, there's going to be 5 cameras, night vision cameras, regular cameras, be used as both. 2 of them on the front of the vehicle. It might come out alongside of here, or it might come out up here. One of those cameras is a wireless camera, which can be used as a reverse camera if we're ever pulling a camper or a trailer. We have a little tiny camper that this thing will pull. It's a little Jayco pop-up camper. And sometimes you get in the trails, you got to reverse down them trails. So we've never had that luxury before of having cameras. Just have to do it by eye, but now we're going to have some cameras. So 2 cameras on the front facing forward, 2 cameras on the back facing backwards. We're going to try to position the cameras to see the wheels. It's not going to happen with just 4, but we might even put 8 cameras on here, and 2 cameras will be perhaps wide angle cameras mounted here or something that's constantly looking at the wheels while we're driving. So that way we can see what's going on and what we're running into and what we're about to bump into, stuff like that. And that basically wraps up the Sidekick. Its official name is ROVE. It stands for Remote Operations Vehicle. It will have lots of storage in here. So, for instance, inside of these pockets up here is going to be tool storage, all of our wrenches, all of our ratchets, extra fuses, tester lights, anything you can think, extra spark plugs, anything that we need, and any sizes that we need to work on this thing out in the bush. And so this whole entire hood will be a tool panel. Of course, there's going to be a jack. We're going to put a high lift jack on here somewhere, on here or on the hood. These internal side covers are going to be storage for equipment. Up here somewhere on this dash or inside of the glove box, somewhere up here, we're going to have an area for rechargeable flashlights. There's going to be 4 docked rechargeable flashlights, and there's going to be 4 docked high-powered ham radios or walkie-talkies. And then, of course, in the center of the console there, we're going to have a trucker's radio, a little ham radio. So that way when we pull up to a spot, somebody can run out in the woods, take a radio with them. We have contact with them the whole time, even if they lose cell phone service. So that's nice. Plus we already have some tactical headgear that is radio powered. So that'll actually work out really nice. There's not room for 2 batteries, although I'd love to have 2 batteries in here. That way when you're parked at night and you're running on auxiliary battery, you don't have to run the car or keep anything charged. It'll run everything for you. We got these special caps for the tires. They're little dinky winky tiny caps about this size, and they're actually Bluetooth wireless caps that give the car the tire pressure at all times, which we don't really need, but we're going all out on this baby. And the tire pressure gauge is about this big. It shows all 4 tires, and that'll be mounted on the dash somewhere. And that's mainly for when we're out there, if we need to lower air out of the tires to get unstuck or get some traction, we can release the air out of the tires and still know what pressure they are and monitor them while we're driving. And when we need to refill the tires, we'll have our little air compressor here with a nice stretchy hose that reaches, just barely reaches that back tire, just barely reaches it when I looked up the length, but it will reach it. It will reach it. So we'll be able to air tires up on the fly out there. We have an inverter. We're going to add a special spot in here for a heater. It's going to be quite a nice heater. So we don't have to run the car when we're sleeping in here. We don't know how far back those seats go, but we're going to have a base plate in here that slides out with legs, and this will turn into a whole bed back here. And then of course there's a tent system that's designed for it that literally caps the entire car. It actually comes up a little bit right here and then gets ratchet strapped to a tree, or has a random stick in the wood that you can use as an uplift. And then this whole thing will turn into a tent. We're going to try to design it to be a 20-minute setup. Anything past 20 minutes isn't really worth our time. We'd just rather sleep right on the chairs in there. And that might not even happen this year, but most of the things that I talked about are going to happen this year. We've got our finances allocated for it. This thing's still got see-through headlights. They're not even fogged up, so yeah, it's in really good condition. Everything in it's in good condition. I gave the motor just a tiny cleaning, not a whole lot of cleaning, just enough that I could reach and reveal some metal and stuff, so it keeps it snug. Got to replace some vacuum hoses on here. For instance, this one just literally falls off. All these hoses are loose, all of them, and it's not doing the trick for us. So, and there might be some things we got to replace, like the fuel pressure regulator, throttle position sensor, the intake air controller. EGR modulator is good. I haven't checked the EGR, but even if it's good, I got to take it off there and clean it. We're actually going to take this whole entire throttle body apart Make sure it's nice and clean, whistly clean. Got a new igniter or a new ignition coil on there. Distributor's good. Everything in the distributor's good. Got some new wires on there. So we rebuilt the computer. Computer was missing its 5-volt supply, which was due to some capacitors messing up in there. So we just tore it apart and replaced those. So if you guys like this vehicle and you want to follow along, then you have to bounce back and forth between one channel to the next channel, but we'll see. All right, peace out.